Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Thank you for joining me again. This one from the garage. There's a video that I keep seeing comments on recently. In fact, a collection of them, and they're all to do with council tax. I thought, hello. Obviously, we've got a budget coming up within the next week or so. And a lot of people are worried about what they're going to lose, what's going to go up, and all the rest of it. So naturally, these things come bubbling back to the surface, and you want to talk about them. I did a video, last week, I think, and here's the thumbnail: 2 horrific council tax stories, where I told you about a disabled man that's getting life made difficult for him by a local council in the way they want information they already have and getting him to fill in forms this large and further misleading him with terms which aren't exactly true. The other story I brought to you was about a council reporting a level of arrears which are non-existent and trying to overcharge somebody and bully them into paying things with fake liability orders and all that sort of stuff. Well, it generated a lot of comments, and what I want to do is bring them up and go through some of your experiences and what you had to say. So thank you very much. Right, let's have a look. Biking 87, look after your family members and yourself, my friend. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Certainly things are quite strained around here at the moment, personally, I have to tell you, but thank you for your wishes. Chrissy M. Cox, our council paid over £50 million for 2 shopping centres, which, as turns out, were only worth 12. Yeah. When you get a council tax bill, well, we'll call it a bill because that's what they call it. I call it a demand. It's itemised where all that money's going to go. And, and what's the disparity between the contract and the amount it did actually cost? And where did the rest of the money go? There was another council, which I think went bust because they invested in, was it solar something or other? And it turns out the guy running the thing was a bit of a crook. Another poor business decision with our money. I will pray for you. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. Chris Davey, it's a bigger con than anything else, barring the 10% increase in the politicians' pay every 5 years. They do nothing, as does the councils. I had to go down to my local council, well, today actually, to pick up my new taxi badge, my new private hires driver's license. And we're charged an amount of money every 3 years to renew that. And when you look at what you're actually asked to do and what they provide you in place of it, you think, really? Yeah, I'll have to show you one time. It's not that great. Dominic, they are there with their big wages and big pensions while wasting money on ridiculous things. Talked about that already. Absolutely. Allegedly to write traffic consultants, £1,250 a day is the going rate. 2-year contract to pay for themselves. They're removing free parking, and you need a permit to park outside your houses, and 20-mile-an-hour zones all over the place, which are enforced by speed cameras. Merseyside Labour through and through. And the MPs that took my heating allowance. Strange things happen north of the M25. You've got London and you've got Wales, which were the test beds for all of this. And I said, and I know others did as well, that if there was ever a Labour government coming in, this would roll out everywhere. And you see the madness, don't you? Martin Bishop, council tax is the biggest rip-off there is. Of all the bills we have to pay, this is one that winds me up the most. As a single person, I get a 25% discount, which should be 50 in reality. I recycle where I can, and I don't waste anything, and I still pay £245 a month, which is ridiculous. That's unbelievable. Council tax is a fucking disgrace, and I hate paying it, and that's that. I'm assuming you're in £245 a month. Are you like London area, or are you somewhere else? Veronica, load of hearts. Thank you very much. That refers to my family thing. Steve, some of these councils are real clown shows. I think you will find all this shit councils are Labour run. Wank councils, wank government. Absolutely. And, you know, it's rolling out all over the place, isn't it? CC182, we're all paying more but getting less services. Where's the money going? Well, I've asked. I've actually written to my council and asked. I've said, you send me this demand and, you know, X, Y, Z, you say we're getting paid for all these things, but where's the money? Is it going to these things or is it going to a central government pot? I tell you, I know the answer to the question I asked. I do. But I want to see what they say and then we'll roll with it. But more people are waking up to this. Spanner Turner, it's almost as if they think we're there to serve them, not the other way round. Too right. B. Williams, Labour are toying with the idea of rebanding council tax. On top of that, they're thinking about removing the cap on the percentage a council can raise taxes, which is currently 5%. That's right. You have to have a referendum, don't you, if they're going to raise it any further. It's obvious why they're doing this. They can cut central funding and allow the council to raise council tax to cover it. And then some, I reckon, if either of these go ahead, people are really going to struggle. If both come in, we're bollocksed. Yeah. The funny thing about taxes, they sit there in their ivory towers in their arrogance. You've got income tax, you've got council tax, and you've got all the plethora of the other things. And they're raising these things, saying that it's going to raise millions of pounds for the government coffers. But that relies on people paying them. If you raise council tax by an unmanageable percentage and people are already struggling with the way it is at the moment, what makes you believe for 1 second that they're going to be able to afford to pay the increased rate? They're not, quite simply. And you get more pockets of poverty all over the place. Now, Richard Vobes is one that's done an awful lot of coverage on council tax. I know some people say some of this stuff is, you do wonder sometimes, but the council tax really does raise important questions. Is this correct? Is this really what we should be doing? And people start looking into it. And I would encourage anybody to. I would. David, I've been querying my council tax bill every year for the last 12 years, ever since I found a discrepancy where it is claimed that police support have been reduced by 67%. Now, every time I get my bill, I demand an itemised, forensically certified account for every penny. If they can't or won't prove it, then I refuse to pay it. It works every time. It's accountability. Accountability. That's all it is. Jason, when you have a monopoly, you can abuse and change as much as you want. Yes, you think you can. Starkey, anyone in power has no empathy with people. They need to read the Bible and see the road they're on, because they will not like where they're heading. Then we will have no empathy for them. I feel, what's the old adage? What goes around comes around, isn't it? Jackowski, if you're a migrant, you can walk into a charity-run office that will give you a translator for your language and a person who will fill these council claim forms in for you. So you can get every penny on offer. If you are white and English, just join the queue and good luck. Feels like that, doesn't it? Big D, thank you very much for the prayer in the heart. Gary, why does Wales, with a population of 3 million, need 22 councils to run it? Surely we could manage without quite a few of them. The amount in wages, building costs, and all the deadhead things that the hangers-on get would surely put the remaining councils back in the black, and a reduction in council tax throughout. Just a thought. One thing I'm looking at is what used to be, and it's very big. It's very out of control, isn't it? A big parliament, a big load of MPs, over 600, nearly 700 of them, more councils you can shake a stick at, more devolution of powers to here, there and everywhere. It's a mess. Whereas 300-400 years ago, everything was a lot more smaller and a lot more refined and a lot more manageable. Maybe a return to those days. The politicians, you see, they think we have short memories. They think we forget how things should be or how things used to be. And it will come back to get them in the end. That I can guarantee you. Right, let's have a look. Mohammed, Brexit, pandemic, and war in Ukraine causing these problems. The youngsters in Britain don't have a future. Bad luck. I mean, that's the old adage, isn't it? If you can get out, go. Roy, sadly, they don't care. Yeah, I tend to agree. 666 should be abolished. Back in the 80s, I lived in a flat with my mum. I mean, I was a kid, grew up in the 80s. Now, I'm old enough to remember when they introduced the poll tax. What happened? Everyone went mad. And I remember the worry my mum had with regard to how we were going to get by. And obviously, out of those ashes came the council tax. Yes, I think we were had. Ian, easy money for the bailiffs. A few threatening phone calls. You know, bailiffs come round, they bash, they whine and intimidate. And, you know, more people need to be more armed with the law so they know what to do. Mick, I'm in the same boat. I've just lost my job at the council, and because I had a TV, PlayStation, and a mobile phone through work, also a bike through the cycle scheme, and various courses I've been on, they now want their money back. But I've gone from an £1,800 a month wage to £320 a month universal credit. No, how can you live? You can't. I mean, even, you know, something like 1,600 to £2,000 a month is nothing. You end up really short. Bonds Gallery, great questions. Thank you very much. That's what I like doing with these, is encouraging debate and then coming back to them. Terry, also notice how much the council gives to charity. Oh yeah, definitely. I'd love to know the managing directors of those charities. Steamhammer, the government takes most of your money and the council aim to take the rest. And to do that, they're sticking their nose in your finance. Yeah, I do wonder whether it's going back to the old days of having something stuffed under the mattress, you know. Anyway, another couple. Jig of the Doug Gopher. Love it. Government employs those that would not survive in private industry. Most of them would be sacked, you know that. Government is not held accountable. Government has the legal right to literally print money, go into debt, yet make the public liable for payment of taxes, much of which is then wasted on parasitic immigrants and other woke ideologies. It's moral and ethical theft. At least the mafia provided protection in return for your money. You're not far wrong there, are you? Not far wrong. The last one, Sue Argent. Just what do we get for paying our taxes? They should be a published statement of accounts monthly shared directly with households that pay into these fraudulent mafia-like councils. The only police are serving the other side these days that have contributed nothing. No hospital, doctor or dental appointments available. Kingston has got Liberal in on the basis of a much-needed swimming pool, having closed the only working one. Years later, again, still no pool. Bins collected weekly from back doors once and carried. Now they can't even manage to put them back where they came from. And heaven forbid you have the audacity to get paper in with bottles. Then it's ignored altogether. Street no longer cleared of weeds, causing danger to the public. Buses that come, if and when, throwing infirm and elderly around. Steamed up, stuffy, uncomfortable roads. Reduced and parking been removed everywhere possible. What a foul, disgraceful, shameful, money-grabbing, thieving country we're now living in. And that comment about sums it up, doesn't it? It really does sum it up. Anyway, that's some of your views about council tax and, you know, what we really think of it. And I would encourage anybody to look further into the intricacies of this, particularly how your council is set up. And you know, the Local Government Finance Act, how that fits in with other things and what your legal rights and obligations truly are. And if you don't know, Ask the question. They've got to respond. It's as simple as that. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done so, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Both of those actions help the algorithm push my stuff here, there, and everywhere. Share me on your social media. And as always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.